Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's the brain of the mainframe here, NIle Scala with POPXP, and tonight I'm joined by the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Frank Amazing. Frank, how are we doing tonight, brother?
Good. Doing well after the long weekend.
Long weekend.
Yep.
4th of July.
Yep.
Fireworks. Freaking techno dancing, fireworks, glow, burning things up.
That's
craziness.
Right. Eating meat.
Eating meat with our bare hands.
That's right.
No like shoes.
Like our forefathers.
Yeah. You know where my musket went?
I don't know.
I don't know either. It was a hell of a night.
It was.
Dude, we have a hell of a night. We've got another
yes.
exciting adventure in crowdfunding comics. And you know, I was thinking, you know, I was in the studio today and I was like, you know what, man, I kind of miss our crowdfunding comics intro, you know, our dedicated intro before we evolved into POPXP. So I was like, no, I'm gonna merge them. I'm gonna merge them a little bit, make something fun for our Tuesday night shows. And so lo and behold, I opened with it tonight and it felt good. It brought back that crowdfunding passion and excitement building up in me, man. And I was freaking like, yeah.
It's the music, you know?
It is the music.
Like, it's like, it gets louder and louder, and it's like,
it's like you want to go do squats.
Yeah.
Be like, hey, with our guests tonight, let's go do squats. You know, we'll talk comics and just squat. Come on, Frank, squat with me. You made it weird. Jeez. Anyways, we've got 3 amazing guests tonight. And to start off tonight's show, let's please welcome Jay Mooers to the show. Jay, how you doing?
Hey, Jay.
Hey, guys. All right, so wait a minute. Are we doing squat like comics? Or are we doing comics while we squat?
Oh. Let's squat with comics.
Okay.
Ooh, this feels nice. This has got a burn.
It burns.
It's got a great burn. People are probably like, what the fuck are we watching right now?
Watching squat.
3 guys squatting with comics.
3 guys squatting. So, Jay, this is your first time on the show, so welcome. We're happy to have you. And I got to ask, man, right? I need the Jay Mooers origin story. How did you get into comics?
Okay, the origin story. Long time ago, about 11 years ago, I was working on a novel. Dun, dun, dun. Dun. And the novel was getting to about 400, 500 pages.
Oh, wow.
And I was losing track of what I had thought of writing versus what I had actually written. And instead of reading those 400, 500 pages, I decided to break it down into smaller pieces. And I had already, you know, I've been a book illustrator for 20 years. So I was like, you know what? I'm making a comic. So I just made my first comic. It was called Autom Grey. It's issue 1. And I basically took it and sold it to my friends and my family. And then I had a box of maybe about 30 extra copies. And a friend of mine, I wasn't even collecting comics at the time. I wasn't even part of this whole scene yet. But I took the comics, and a friend of mine brought me to a free comic book day. And I set up a little table, and I had my little poster for my comic. And I had my stack of comics, and I sold out.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
And that's how I caught the bug. Then I talked to a couple other people there, and they talked about a couple small shows that I then went to. And before you knew it, I was, you know, looking at the schedule and grabbing a ton of shows, making comics, and here I am.
Oh, nice. So prior to 11 years ago or so, you weren't necessarily a huge comic book fan of any kind?
Most of my comic collections involved Garfield, Calvin and Hobbes, and that was about it, probably. Far Side.
Yeah. So when you went to the free comic book day, were you, you know, perusing, starting to see what was actually on the shelf, and maybe like, oh, this kind of looks interesting?
I've looked at comics, and friends have had comics, but I have like a collector's OCD problem. So if I picked up, say, a copy of Spider-Man, I would be determined to have the entire series.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which would be a little tough.
Yes. We got Brian Blevins. I think Jay is trying to seduce me with all those unbuttoned buttons.
I'm
He's
distracting him
dreaming.
there. It was squatting. You know, you don't want to.
Yeah.
You don't want to.
You don't want to get the collar wet. You want to get the collar wet.
I was showing off my lack of gold chains.
You got to earn those chains, man. Another 11 years.
That's right.
Comic books, the industry where you can make hundreds of dollars.
Hundreds
of dollars.
So, did you go to a show in the Boston area? Is that where you caught the bug?
It was actually Larry's Comics in Lowell, Mass.
Okay.
It was Free Comic Book Day there, and then hey Lee.
What's going on, Lee?
I'm not used to the text popping up. I'm like, oh hey.
I'm just gonna throw them randomly at you, especially when you're in mid conversation. I'll just throw up some.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, because there's some good, comic book stores up in Massachusetts.
Oh yeah, I've gotten to know quite a few of them.
Yeah.
I think my first big show, or semi-big show, but still a pretty big show, was Super Mega Fest. Mm-hmm. I'm sure you guys have heard of that one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Back when it was just it was at the Marriott in the fall. So that's kind of how I wound up. Like I started doing a bunch of little shows, and then at the end of the year, I had this one show that I was in that was a big show. It was very exciting.
So I got to ask, because this is kind of spinning in my head right now. You weren't really into comic books, right? And you were writing this novel. You were saying about 400, 500 pages, and you're like, no, I'm going to break this down into a comic book series. So how did you even go about learning how to adapt this to a comic?
Well, I'd already done a lot of book illustration work. I've done children's books. Mm-hmm. Almost all my artwork has been, about telling a story. So I was like, all right, so now I'm completely getting rid of the text, or other than dialogue and maybe a little description here and there. But I just gave it a whirl. Like it's obvious. I mean, at this point, Autom Grey is kind of my main series. I've done a lot of different comic series. I've worked with Dynamite. I've worked with a bunch of different publishers. But my own personal series, Autom Grey, has kind of been like my major one. And at this point, I'm through 8 issues. And by number 8, I probably have about 35 comics under my belt that I've done for other writers. Like some of them in short story collaborations, all kinds of stuff like that. So there's a vast difference. The Autom Grey series is almost like a self-portrait of me becoming a comic artist.
Mm-hmm. Nice. So let's take a look at this Autom Grey. So you have Autom Grey number 8 currently up right now on Indiegogo.
Yes.
You've got 23 days left. So you just launched recently with this campaign. You have, you've now broke over your goal of 500. 116% funded, which is great.
Right.
Let's check out the video. Let's play the video for everyone.
Oh, go for it.
And I'm just gonna fix something really quick. Hang on 1 second.
He also sometimes watches it himself, and we just stare at him watching.
Remember when I used to do that? Is that funny? I would just be sitting there.
Glasses, you can see.
I would just be sitting there, and everyone's like, where's the video? And I'm like, this is cool. This is cool. All right, let's get this going here.
Yeah.
I just had to adjust the audio. Sorry. Music like that, man, just gets you pumped. Hi,
Yeah.
how's everyone doing? Our boy Fragaboom is live right now.
With some butts.
With some butts. That's great. Look, we're gonna leave that up for everyone. Yeah, they're just all saying hi.
And
We're
then
all
we
saying
get
hi.
taken down because of butts.
Yeah, I know we'll probably get like something from YouTube anyways. But so you are on issue 8 of Autom Grey. Now, for someone who's watching this live right now, that's going to watch this recorded, who's not familiar with this and sees your campaign at issue 8, what can you tell us about this back from issue 1? Can you give us kind of the premise of the story and where you were from issue 1 and how we are now to issue 8?
Sure. Well, Autom Grey is a story about a place up in New Hampshire, up in the White Mountains, where fairies and monsters have gone to hide. They're not supposed to exist in our world anymore, and their own kind hunts them, penalty of death for being here. So they're all hidden, and what actually happens is what they call a truant, which is basically an enforcer, comes to wipe them out. And he doesn't care about ruining the lives of the people that live there or using the people. And he basically creates Autom Grey, which is a girl that he picks out because she has connections to the fairy world that she was not aware of. Basically, she grew up with an imaginary friend who was actually in charge of the fae that are hidden in the woods there. So because of that connection, he decides to use her to destroy them. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like a Pandora's box kind of story. It starts out simple enough, like a girl and her imaginary friend, and there's a guy, a homeless guy that lives under a bridge, which is actually a troll, and that kind of stuff. But then it just kind of has a downward spiral into destroying this girl's life, and the bloody hunting down of fairies, monsters, goblins, and the like. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of an urban fantasy story. Takes place in the 90s. I figured 90s were a good time for it to take place because it's still kind of modern, but I just didn't like the idea of cell phones and being able to instantly connect. I like the idea of being able to walk out into the woods and be lost, you know?
Yeah. No, I get that. I like that concept, kind of making it modern, but kind of taking the technology out of it, you know, to make you feel more like you remember those days, like when you were kind of like on your own, you were on your own, there's no cell phones. When you walked out your door, that was it.
Got home.
Yeah, exactly. When you're with your friends playing in the woods, you're in your friend. You can't just quickly call someone. No one can reach you. And your parents are screaming. Hey, it's time for dinner. Get in. You're like, no, Mom, I don't want meatloaf. And all that stuff.
Mom, meatloaf. Yeah.
Where's fucking meatloaf and mac and cheese? Well, anyways, man, the art is really cool in this. Who's doing the artwork in this book?
It's actually all me.
Oh, wow. So you're doing the whole shebang on this?
Yep. I've done projects where I've been the writer. I've done projects where I'm the artist. This one, I'm both.
Oh, wow. Incredible.
What do you prefer, writing or drawing?
I love both of them.
Yeah.
Writing wise, I like that I can spend a fraction of the time working on a comic, and then someone else gets to spend the hours upon hours upon hours drawing it. But I love doing the art too.
Now, have you been drawing your whole life, or is this something you started doing when you adapted this?
No, I've been drawing since I was old enough to ruin my parents' walls with crayons.
I'm with you on that one. Yeah. I know my parents hated that. Well, they loved that I was drawing, but I was drawing on everything. Now I see, so you've got some great selections here for backers. The style is great in this book. One question that I have with this here is, why did you choose Indiegogo over Kickstarter?
Well, since I am the one-stop shop for this comic, I don't have any expenses other than printing. I was able to finish this issue because I was out of work for a couple of weeks thanks to the whole pandemic thing.
Yep.
You know, that little thing going on.
That little ditty.
That little ditty. So I had some time to finally finish issue 8, and then I realized all the conventions, basically my fan base, you know, weren't going to be able to get copies of it unless I emailed them and everything. And I was like, well, why don't I just put it up on an Indiegogo? Because I didn't need any particular amount of money to make it happen. I figured Indiegogo was a better way to go because Kickstarter, you have to make your goal or you get nothing. And this with Indiegogo, if any of just the fan base ordered books this way, I knew that I'd be able to just send the books out to them when it was done.
Gotcha. No, that makes sense. Now,
Right.
I mean, so what has, you know, you're speaking of kind of what's been going on in the world, you know, you're out of work, you had some time to get this done. Now, is this the first time you've ever crowdfunded for Autom Grey?
No, I had, back when I had first started, when I finished issues 1 through 5, I colored them and put together a trade book of 1 through 5. And at that time I did a Kickstarter and I had abysmal results because I just kind of jumped into it without doing the pre homework you're supposed to do. And it devastated me. I thought, like, all these people that were interested, nobody showed up, oh my God, and
Yeah.
it's kind of like, it took me about a year to kind of get back into it. Like, I kind of took a step away from it and I worked on projects for other people and sketch cards and all kinds of different stuff. But then I picked it up again and started going. And I mean, the feedback I've been getting is great. Did I send you guys a copy of this book to check out before this?
I didn't see anything if you did.
Oh, I'm a slacker.
That's all right.
Unbelievable.
I know.
Well, I guess we'll nix this interview here.
Delete it.
Yeah. But so, what are you doing though now? Since you're doing the Indiegogo, you've done your homework. Are you getting on podcasts? Are you doing things? I mean, what are you doing that anyone out there that's like, hey, I've got something I really want to crowdfund? I mean, what are you doing to get your name out there and this book out there?
Well, I mean, obviously I have more of a social media presence now than I did back when I made the trade at issue 5. People are on social media more because they're not going to conventions and things right now. I found a couple podcasts here and there, like this POPXP one. I don't know if you've heard of it, but I'll be doing that sometime this week.
Show. It's horrible. You don't want
well, you know what? Even bad PRs, it's all good. So yeah, I've been promoting it more on podcasts.
Now, if you started your own channel, I'm noticing a lot of independent creators are starting their own YouTube channels or they're doing Facebook Lives, trying to help promote their stuff,
Right.
Or they may be even working on these products live as, the book is in the campaign, whether they've done their, 60 days, 30 days, now they're in demand or whatever, platform they're using, they're kind of like bringing people along the journey.
Right. I keep intending to set up something and start doing it. My problem is that I have so much on my plate. Like, I'm glad I did this when I did, because I'm not, and I've already written number 9. That is 10 to the whole series. But I'm not sure, like, when I'm going to get to it, because I have so much work. Like, I'm always like, oh, I'll set up a camera while I'm doing this work and I'll show people. I'm like, I don't have time. I got to just get this done.
Yeah. Well, you said you're working on other people's stuff too, right?
Yes. Yep.
Nice. So
since this Indiegogo started, I've done a children's book, 28 pages, full color pages, and another comic book with somebody else. So that was over the last month.
Oh, nice. Now, are you doing this full time or is this part time for you?
This is part time.
Oh, nice. And we also have, if anyone's interested in checking out more of Jay's work, please head over to www.edenparktales.com.
Yeah, that's the name of my publishing company. It's also the name of the park where Autom Grey happens. So,
is it a real place, Jay?
Now, the funny thing there is, before I started writing the novel Autom Grey, I wanted to make everything as realistic as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So I made a travel website for Eden Park. I put it on the map. I put the town on the map. I made fake highways and routes that went there. I found photos from different park things that I set up as this is the playground here. Here's the gate, blah, 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 parking, blah, blah, blah. I made it all like a completely legit page. Mm-hmm. And then I got flooded with emails from people that were trying to figure out where it was because they wanted to take their family there.
Well, I was I saw that sign. I'm like, is this based off of a real place or not? And
that was the sign that I photoshopped the logo and everything on a wooden sign.
I thought it was going to be that's where I actually wrote the story. I'd pick up a sandwich, I'd head to the bench, and I would just type in good old Eden Park.
There's a motel off the road too.
Why does there have to be a motel, dude? What kind of park is this?
Down the road.
All right. So Jay, let me ask you, man. So you've been in the industry for a little while and stuff. I mean, with everything going on in the world, everything going on with comics and stuff, I mean, what's your take on the industry, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh, I don't think. I mean, I know comic movies are booming right now, but as far as comic books go, I think everyone is just. I think the big names, that have always kind of had not necessarily a monopoly, but they've shared the monopoly on it. I think indies have really started catching up with them. There's a lot of small publishers out there now, and now that even Diamond doesn't own the whole distribution anymore. There's other companies that are now growing. So I think it's a great time if you're an indie artist. It's a tough time if you're used to your comfortable, series. Mm-hmm. Thanks, Keith.
Jason Mooers is a good dude.
Keith is an awesome dude too.
Are you sure that's not what you said before we went live?
I know. Shh.
I think you said he was magnificent and eloquent.
Yep, he's part of this complete breakfast.
There you go. I'm gonna have to ask Keith though that question when he's on, Frank. Yeah, I swear, unless I'm thinking of someone else, who knows? But anyways, I agree with that, man. I think with everything that's gone on, all tragedy aside, in the horribleness that's happened, that I wish never had happened and is still happening. But I do think it opened up some opportunities. I think it opened up some time for people to finish things, to get things moving. I think it opened up opportunities for others to come in and say, well, hey, if you can't do it, we're going to do it. And I think it allowed people to refocus their craft.
I think a lot of the stuff was already happening, but I think because of the current crisis, it bumped itself ahead a couple of years.
Yeah. No, I agree with that 100%. So what do you have up in the pipeline after this? You've got issue 9. Any other works that you can talk about? Anything that you're doing with other people that may hit the crowdfunding scene?
Let's see. Looking around at my desk, I have all kinds of things all over here. I got my cheat sheet of all the things I'm supposed to do. I have a couple movies that I'm working on as the art director. I'm doing storyboards, character studies, and posters. For one called The Ballad of Billy Badass, which has just started filming. They got a little delayed because they weren't allowed to go anywhere to film, but they just got the clearance to be able to go in and film. So they're starting to put that together, which is exciting.
Nice.
I've been doing I can't talk about that one.
Sure you can.
Oh yeah, come back.
Yeah. So you're busy. You got a full plate.
I'm a busy guy. Yeah, I'm looking down my list. I'm this list is still kind of long.
Yeah. So then let me ask you too. On the other front, having your campaign up, is there anything out there that you're following currently? Anything that you've backed recently?
Oh yeah, well, there's Keith Gleason's, who will be on later on today. His comic Mighty Mascots. I also just started. I'm crowdfund. I always like kind of peruse around. I usually have 2 or 3 a month that I'll throw something into, whether it's for a digital copy or physical. I'm always trying to support other folks. Yeah.
Oh, well, and also it gives you an opportunity to see what other people are doing,
Right.
and what you may want to do for your next campaign.
Right.
Anyone you want to work with? Like anyone you've met in the scene, they're like, man, I'd love to work with that person.
I mean, there's a ton of people I'd love to work with. I actually just started writing a spin-off of Autom Grey. That's something I can talk about. It's a darker story. It takes place currently, so it's like after the events of Autom Grey. But I'm going in as the writer, and it's the first time I'm completely hands off of the artwork. The guy I'm working with, I don't know if you know him, Ryan Santos. He's a great artist. I first did one of those internet reach outs looking for an artist, and I got flooded with about 200 overseas people. Some of them looked amazing and stuff, but I'm always a little leery of not being able to contact the person I'm supposed to be working with.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden Ryan was like, I want to do it. I was like, you? Great. Okay. You know, he lives 15 minutes from me. So.
Oh, that's great. Then you guys can up and go through everything.
Yeah.
That's cool. Now, do you have when do you think the spinoff would be coming out? Do you have any
well, he got delayed because with his kids not in school, it kind of completely messed up his art schedule.
Yeah.
But he's back on course now. We should have something. I mean, at this point, I was first hoping for summer. Yeah. But I think it's going to be fall.
Gotcha. All right. Well, we'll keep an eye out for that. And if, you start promoting that, let us know. We'll get you back on and we can show that off and what you have. And again, everyone, if you get a chance, check out Autom Grey #8, Collusion. This is a very cool looking book. I think the premise of this is great. If you like, something with a little fright in it, it's something you're going to want to check out. And if you can, share it on your platforms, help support indie creators out there, share it on your Twitter, your Facebook, Instagram, whatever you're using, and, help push this campaign along. He's got 23 days left. He has been successfully funded, but there's always more to go. And, are you going to be doing any stretch goals of any kind, Jay?
Well, at 100%, I released being able to buy the original artwork. Then I have another one at 150, and then at 200, I have if we get there, I got a big surprise for everyone who's been back in the campaign. So
awesome. Ooh. Awesome. Well, we wish you the best of luck. We hope this reaches new heights for you. And Jay, we want to thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you very much for having me, guys. All
right, man. Have a great night, and keep in touch with us and keep us in the loop with all your future projects.
I will. Thanks, guys.
All right. Thank you. Bye. That's a cool looking book. I like those stylized books, man, where you really can just see someone has their own unique style and they just develop it through. And, I really encourage you guys, check this out. This is really cool. He's up to issue 8. He's been successful up to issue 8. 9 is in the works. So when you get a chance, check it out. And now we've got our next guest backstage. So I'd love to introduce Mr. Brian Denham. Brian, how you doing tonight?
Hey, great. How you guys doing?
Hey, Brian.
We're doing really well. Thanks for coming on the show.
All right. Hey, I wore a Brooklyn Dodgers hat in your honor, Frank.
Nice. There we go.
There you go. I had my Texas Ranger hat on, and I was like, "Oh snap! I better bring it.
Better swap that out."
Yeah.
So, Brian, man, you've been in the industry for quite some time. I know. I wish I had a hat. I don't have a hat.
Nile's just learning about.
You were good without it.
Yeah, I've been learning baseball. I can really, throw a swoosh. You know what I'm saying? I can really throw those swooshes. Oh, did we lose them?
There you go. and throw the popcorn into the bleachers.
There you go.
I'm good at throwing hot dogs.
Throwing hot dogs into my mouth.
I guess that's a bad visual to pause forever.
I think everyone's enjoying it. I think everyone's enjoying
it. That's good. Everybody good?
Everyone's great, man. So let me ask, so you've been in the industry for a long time. Can you give us kind of your origin story and how you've gone up into the industry?
Well, I guess a quick breakdown. I had a buddy in the Marines, and when we got out, we were going to publish a comic book together, and took a few months or whatever. But his grandma died. It's so sad. But his grandma died, left him a bunch of money. He's like, "This is, it's now or never." So we published this comic book. And after it came out, I think we released it through Diamond. It's like 1992, I think. And I was like, oh crap, I need some work, So I was like, I'm just gonna go practice some more. And I got a job at a comic book store. And Jim Lee came through on the Killer Instinct tour in like 1994, And I was working at the store. I got to show him the book, and he. At the end of the day, and man, that line was long as hell to get in there and see him. But he threw it. He's like, you're almost ready. You're right there. He's like, about 6 more months. And I was like, okay, well, I'll practice and do everything he said, And 6 months later, I published the book with the help of a bunch of people in Dallas, and where I'm from. And I met Rob Liefeld through Dan Fraga. Fraga was walking around the Dallas Fantasy Fair, saw my table, talked to me and stuff, and he introduced me to Liefeld. And the next week was San Diego Comic-Con, and I saw Liefeld again, and he remembered the book. He's like, "Oh yeah, that guy that published My Name Is Mud, right?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "You want a job?" I was like, "Well, hell yeah, And he's like, "Okay, well, he introduced me to some other people. And he's like, show up at the office on Monday." And, it was like Saturday when I met him. I had $20 in my pocket. He's like, "Get up to." And he did. He bought me a desk. He he hired a bunch of guys at the show, gave us all desks and stuff. And I was there a couple of years. And I left, and I did a little bit of more work for him for Extreme once I got back to Dallas. And there was a kid there, and I met Brian Polito, from Chaos Comics, and Ben Dunn and the whole Antarctic Press team, and they all wanted to give me work, and I did stuff for Brian Polito first, doing some Chaos books and Evil Ernie, and he said do a Lady Death piece and do a Evil Ernie piece. He's like, you got to blow my socks off or nothing, So I like worked all weekend and did some badass pieces, and he gave me some more work, and then Antarctic Press was like, "Come on down, to San Antonio. We want to, let you hang out here and all this stuff." And they wanted to offer me a Warrior Nun, like right after Ben Dunn had done some issues, Ben wanted to go on to other projects, and he's like, we want Warrior Nun looking more realistic. And so I went down there, stayed there for a month. I met Kelsey Shannon. We roomed together for a month while we were, vibing the Antarctic Press place, and we both wanted to work there. And they hired us, and I did some stuff on and off for them. Later, I worked for Marvel and Top Cow and Wildstorm, doing some other books. But I guess Antarctic Press is my home. I keep coming back here. It's like since 1997, and now I'm in charge. So it's
well, I guess that's a good position to come back for. Yeah,
it's pretty great. I love these guys. These guys here are like a family, and. It's a whole vibe for like creator-owned comics. They do everything they can to help guys get published and stuff, and they don't try to own anything, so the creators still own the rights to everything that's ever been done here. Except for maybe 5 books that Antarctic Press owns.
Mm-hmm. So tell people a little bit about Antarctic Press that aren't familiar with that company.
Well, this is our 35th year. In business. They started in 1984. Ben Dunn and a friend of his, they started the company. A little while later, he needed more help running it, and the guy that started it with him didn't want to do it any longer. And So Ben's brother came in, Joe Dunn, and they ran it together for a while, and Joe handled the finance and the business end, and Ben handled the creative end. And over the years, they've had different editor in chiefs, and they all kind of guide what's going to be published at that time. Like for the early days, they were in like a lot of manga and stuff, and then some early furry stuff, and a lot of military books. They had an editor in chief in the '90s that was really big into like the independent wave and stuff, and they did like box office and some other books like that. And just over the years, it keeps changing. What kind of books they present and build an audience from and stuff. That's about it. They do a lot of manga. Mostly, they're known for the manga. It's really, we do a lot of comics, and it's basically, what we're presented with. So a lot of people present us with manga, so that's what we publish. And a lot of, newer people are doing different styles, or, manga American fusion, more and more, because it's all mixed now. Everybody gets to see entertainment from all over the world. So we get pitches from like guys in Japan. Singapore, we got a French guy published, submitting some stuff to us, and it's just kind of neat that we can bring it all together and find a publishing house for all these guys that may not have found somebody else to publish them.
Yeah, and our good friend JC Vaughn's in the house, says Brian Laterman Denham. And we've got
JC Vaughn used to shop at the comic book store I worked at, and every time they, him and some friends of his would leave, I always get Later Man. So that was my superhero code name, Later Man. That store that I worked at, it had J.C. Vaughn there, who was, guest last week. And it also had Scott Kurtz. They were both customers, Scott Kurtz from PvP.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, this one little store, produced a lot of like I can't let my career down sometimes, because it's like, I have two other guys from the same store that have remarkable careers.
That's awesome. Then Despain's Comics asks, hi, Brian. What's your advice on submitting a comic to Antarctic Press for publication?
Well, hello. We take in a lot of submissions, and one thing we really look for is maybe a unique voice or something on what you're trying to do. But we also need either a few issues already done, if that's what you're looking for, like a mini series, or one thing we started doing recently was some anthology books. Like we got Planet Comics, which was an old 1940s book. Got Jungle Comics, Planet, Jungle, Exciting, and we got Horror Comics, which is like right here. So we have a lot of anthology books. So it's like if 8-page story that's either exciting, jungle, horror, or you somewhere. So if you just want to like try it out, we also do Gold Digger every year. I guess except the last 1 or 2 years. We do a swimsuit issue, and it's just a bunch of fan art, people trying to get published. And we've been doing that since the beginning. Like Ninja High School used to do some fan books, and Gold Digger, sorry. We've published a lot of people that have gone on to do bigger and better things. Like Chris Samney, like one of his first, if not his first work, was in Ninja High School as a pinup. So it's like fans will come up to us and thank us for publishing these books back in the day, because it was like one thing that inspired them to keep going is just seeing their stuff in print. And I know in my early days I was trying to get work at Antarctic Press. I met like Ben Dunn in like 1988 after they just started, and I was like, I really want to work for you. I love your stuff. I love Ninja High School, and Captain Harlock and stuff he was doing for Eternity, or the other companies in the day. And he's like, you draw too good to work for me. Like, go do Marvel stuff, And, I finally made it back here.
Nice. Now, how long have you been in the position you're in now?
Since January of 2018. Although I have been the number 2 man for a while. Just helping out or having ideas for books and stuff. But now it's like more running the whole production and what we publish and stuff like that.
Now, do you guys scout? Like, are you guys scouting like Kickstarters and Indiegogos to see, like, do you guys approach people, or do you more just have submissions come in to you?
We have approached a few people. Like we did a book called Rags. Let me check real quick if I have one around here. But it's the adult cover or whatever, but it's this zombie book we published, but the creator of that one day blasted us on Twitter. He's like, this industry doesn't have the nerve to publish my book, and he's like, man, Antarctic Press wouldn't publish it, all these other people wouldn't publish it. And I was like, let me go see what it looks like, and it was amazing. The story was cool. And so I wrote him, and I was like, Brian Ball, the creator of it, I was like, we want to publish it. Your book looks good. He's already, a good way through the first issue. He wanted to do 7. The 7th issue is getting turned in right now. Another guy was like Tim Lim. He was, he one of the guys that we knew, like My Hero Macadamia, and a parody of that, right? My Hero Macadamia or whatever. But it was more of a Trump slant, Republican Trump slant or whatever on My Hero Academia, and we knew him. We've seen him at cons. He's a really nice guy, and we were doing Trump parody books, and we would, we like approached one of our friends that, and we were like, yeah, tell him like to pitch it to us because, we want to publish it. And after that first issue, it kept like, man, there's like 8 printings of the first issue, And I was like, what else do you have? And he said he had a brief idea of a rabbit fighting, and I was, he had a name for it. And so, it was called Black Hops. But it was hilarious, and it's like, that's like right up our alley. Like, we really love silly stuff or whatever. But although we do publish serious stuff, we like the fun. We like to bring it.
Yeah, nice. And then, so
we've approached a few other people over the last couple of years.
Okay. Now, so we deal with a lot of crowdfunding people and stuff like that and whatnot and stuff that's going on. And I mean, if you don't mind me asking, you don't have to talk about it, but I know that we had this issue with Richard C. Meyer and stuff. Were you there for that whole thing?
I was the first one to approach him about publishing with us. Because he said he didn't think he'd find a publisher or something like that for his book, and I was like, I was a Marine, he was a Marine, we had another Marine at the office, and it's like, let's give him a shot. And so I reached out to him, I wrote him like, a whole bunch of ideas of what we wanted to do, and we talked for a while, and the decision to drop Jawbreakers rests with the owner. It's his own decision, and we have to live with it. But I mean, not that we have to live with it, but even though I worked up to get him, ultimately that did with Richard and the owner of AP, and they decided together, that it was best for us to not publish it. So.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
I still got a copy though, I backed it on Indiegogo, but
nice.
It is what it is.
Now, did you guys get backlash though from the indie community, like people not wanting to publish with you guys? Yeah, we got backlash from both, Republican and Democrat or whatever, both sides of the whole argument, but
we stayed on Twitter and talked to everybody, and some were private messages. We've got like a lot of hate mail and all that kind of stuff. And hopefully we, through good customer service, use them to not hate us, so give some of our other creators. We publish so many creators. It's like they weren't involved in the decision. Why should they be punished for something that was ultimately out of everybody's hands?
Yeah, no, I understand. Yeah, it's crazy though. How Twitter and all those things work. I mean, people like to run wild.
Yeah, and it was hard to get through, but because some of the stories would just get so crazy, it's like none of that is true. Like, where's this blowing up from? But have to work through it. We were publishing an anthology book, and some of the people that were involved in it, they've been working for months to prepare this anthology, and some of them quit because we dropped Richard, and some of them quit because we were going to hire Richard, and it's like this anthology book that had been worked on for 6 months, like half the creators left, and with decisions that they made on their own that they could live with,
Yeah.
But we just kept plugging forward,
Yeah, and now you guys have you got Fred Perry's Gold Digger Remastered book #1 live on Kickstarter.
Oh yeah. We've launched a lot of Gold Digger things over the years. A lot of the bricks. We used to publish these huge books of bricks like on our own. I mean, these were super expensive to pay for. This is the newest one we've done, which is a bunch of Fred stories that weren't in the main Gold Digger book, and it's like 600 pages of just stories he's done over the years. But the new one we're doing is Fred Perry's Remastered. We went back over the last 2 years and colorized his first 20 issues. And so this is the first time all of his early black and white stuff is in print. He made 50 black and white issues, but this first volume will contain up to 20, up to issue 19. And then in the next 5 years or so, we're going to hopefully do a second and third volume that will reprint all first 50 black and white issues in full color.
Oh, wow. So this right here, so this was originally in black and white.
Yeah, Fred's early work. The first issue was, the first appearance of Gold Digger was in like a mangazine, and then it spun off into a mini series, and then from that it hit, a black and white series, and that ran for 50 issues, and then we relaunched it in color in like 98 or something.
Wow, that's
so
cool.
Right now, like Fred has just turned in issue 275 of, we renumbered once it hit color, or it was in color from issue 1 up to a certain issue, and then we combined the numbering, so then it took off from there. But Fred's total number is like 275. He just turned that one in.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So within 2 years he's going to hit issue 300.
Yeah. Oh, that's incredible.
He writes it, he draws it, he colors it, inks it, letters it, and he's also like animated an entire 2-hour movie of his characters over the years while he's still putting in a monthly. Yeah, like you can go on YouTube and find it's like a Gold Digger Time Raft. It's a anime. Yeah. So he did every cell of the animation, the background, the foreground, the special effects, all that stuff, while he was turning in a monthly book.
Oh, that's incredible. That's incredible.
Yeah,
I know, right? Holy shit.
Freaking. And he does a bunch of other art too. Yeah.
Now
he's a tank.
Now you've gone on Indiegogo and Kickstarter. And I think for this campaign, if I'm not mistaken, you started on Indiegogo and then brought it over to Kickstarter, correct?
Kickstarter since maybe 2012. And I did a first really big one that we were like, this is where we need to be, is I did a zombie card set, like these bicycle playing cards. Let me see if it's
yeah.
Oh, let me zoom in on you there.
But Yeah, so I did that like in 2013. That was our first one where we're like, this is an outlet where we can get other books published that, we can't afford. All of these were card set. It really. So from that point, we started launching the Gold Digger Bricks and some of our other books. And I have another one like Airship and Star Trek thing. I'll show you that one. That was a couple years ago.
Oh, nice.
So I did a hardcover and a softcover.
Nice.
And yeah, so we were doing Kickstarter, and they were having a little thing going on this year. So we were like, let's just see if we can launch on Indiegogo, like one of our big books, And it did really well for us. On Indiegogo, it raised like $32,000 already, and it's ended, and now it's in the the live thing where you can keep buying it.
Yeah, the in demand.
Yeah, Kickstarter, we have 5 more days. It's at 15,000. Which was it was like 14,000 earlier today, so that's really great.
Yeah, no, that's good. We like study these platforms. We've had, especially over the past year, doing the show and everything, and helping with campaigns and stuff. And I have to tell you, you put all politics aside, put everything aside, right? Whatever people's preferences are, I have to say, it's really cool seeing the Indiegogo platform grow and adapt for especially comics. It's a really cool platform, especially if you have a book that's still in the works. I don't know.
We did oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just saying, it's good. Like if you had a book that's in the works too, like as an artist, you guys are, obviously you're putting together some already completed works into, larger works or, omnibus type things and whatnot. Like this one here. But I mean, if you had a book that was still in progress, I mean, you run your campaign, you basically get like your initial funding and stuff, and then you can keep it in demand while you're working on it. And that's what I love about Indiegogo versus Kickstarter is, as a creator myself, well, that's great. Maybe half my book's done when I go to launch, and I'm still selling my book while I'm finishing it versus I'm finishing my book and not making any money.
Yeah, and the early days of Kickstarter was kind of like that. It's like you raise the money, you got a few pages done or something, raise the money, and then you kept going with the books.
Yeah.
Now we try to just get it all done ahead of it, or I know people are really invested in just watching it unfold. But I know it's like there is a patience level where it's like, okay, we want to watch it unfold and all the pages get created and all this stuff, but you still have to deliver it. Within a decent timeline, or people just get anxious. They're like, "Where's my book?" Or "Where's my project?"
Yeah, exactly. You still got to deliver it. You got to stick to your timelines. So account for your in-demand time for your project and whatnot. Exactly. But let me ask you, Brian, give us for anyone out there that's not familiar with Gold Digger. I mean, what's the premise of the story about?
Well, Gold Digger is about the 2 main characters, the girl in the hat right there, Gina, and her sister, the big cheetah girl. She's a were-cheetah. And they basically are adventurers, throughout time and space, looking for treasures and stuff. I guess that would be the easiest way to explain it. But it is like explaining the Fantastic Four after 30 years of the book. It's like, a family goes on an adventure. A family goes on a family vacation. But it spans time and space from the beginning of time to the end of time, and treasures everywhere. There's worlds of dragons and dragons fighting. There's leprechauns, like little tiny leprechauns and stuff that run around and zap them every St. Patty's Day or whatever. But it is so massive. It would be so hard to explain it in just a second or two. But it is fun. Yeah, and Fred does a lot of just one and done issues. So even though it's at issue 275, like the 275th issue, it's like the Bible for the whole run. So it tells you like how these characters began, their entire legacy, their family lines, their family legacies, like everything you ever need to know to read Gold Digger. Because 276 will be out in a month, and it's like, here's a recap of everything. You can start here fresh without having to read every other issue before it. But there is a lot of fun issues. You know, he does one where it's like, you know, Brittany goes, you know, the big cheetah girl goes out on a boat fishing one day and catches like a giant tuna god, and it's like, you know, she loves tuna. She's a cheetah girl. But
Did you say it was a tuna god?
we got some. Yeah, like she finds the mythical, you know, legendary tuna that everybody's been searching for all time, and it's like a god.
Oh, that's great. That's awesome.
But you know, like that issue is just, you know, one and done. She goes out, has an adventure, and comes home, and you know, she's upset. I don't want to spoil it, but
yeah,
you know that for that the campaign right there, you know, we have the tribute issue, which, you know, Adam Warren's contributing, Tim Lamb, me, some of the other guys at the office. Kelsey Shannon, you know, they've submitted art over the last couple of years, and we built up the really badass tribute book. And we didn't know, like, it's like, where's the best time to put this out? And this was it right here, launching, you know, relaunching the reprinting of all the Gold Digger issues. It's like, you know, you can start here and get the tribute issue, and it's all the, you know, and in our 35th year, so that's really cool.
That's great. 35 years. When's the actual anniversary? When are you guys throwing the party?
Well, every day, man.
Yeah.
every Wednesday at the local comic book shop.
Yeah. No, black and was it a black tie affair?
Yeah, we're all going to dress in penguin suits, you know.
There you go.
Little penguin tails.
Have some gold.
Maybe in winter when it gets a little snowier.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Antarctic was actually like incorporated in like December of '84, so it's like we don't really count it until the first book, you know, came out, which was you know, by April or May. So it's like you know, it's like we don't count it until, you know, the actual book landed on the shelf, you know. Because you can say you're going to do it all you want, but until it's actually in the stores and finished, you know.
So myself and Antarctic Press are twins. December '84.
Man, you look the same.
That's crazy. Unbelievable.
Oh, wow, that's really cool. We're as old as you. It's like if we stop publishing comics, you better watch out. Like,
I know.
All together,
my life, you'll start seeing me like fade away, like in those movies. It's like dust. I'm like, hey, and my hand just like fades out. I'm like, Brian, what are you doing?
Yeah, so, you know, we better call each other, you know.
Yeah.
Like,
Nice.
oh crap, I'm starting to fade. It's like, oh, you might have the Rona.
Oh no. So what do you guys have? Are you able to talk about what's next to maybe hit the crowdfunding scene after these campaigns?
Yeah, within the, you know, next week or the next couple of days, within 14 days, we're going to launch on Indiegogo Teether, which is let me just dig this up real quick. But go to my bag of goodies over here. I got some.
Is that your spinner rack?
Yeah, years, like about 10 years ago, the Virgin Megastore in Dallas was going out of business, and they were selling the rack, and I was like, I want this rack, you know. It was like $20. I was like, oh my god, I'll never
It's a steal.
Yeah, and it's red. My desk is red. It's red. I got the London bus is red. I don't know why. I got a little theme.
Only if you like Star Trek, you know, then we could really be friends.
Got my red tribble, my little winter tribble right here for Star Trek Online.
Nice.
So the Teether is by our great buddy David Hutchison, and this is the black and white, but it's about this scary. She got like big monster powers, but out of the picture for family.
No, you can show it. This is not a.
This is not
It's not a kid. It's not a family show. You can show whatever.
This entire time, so I'm doing pretty good. I don't think I landed any bombs yet, but so we're gonna launch Teether within a week. Actually, David's gonna launch it on his own, so we'll
Nice.
be helping him like promote it and stuff. Yeah.
Cool.
So that's a cool thing too. Is like, you know, while we have some campaigns going, some of our creators can have their own campaigns.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And then you guys help
Years
assist
back,
with
he
their
did
fulfillment. Oh, we're losing you there.
Just a couple of guys, but they ship all this stuff out, and they'll like they help ship my Airship Enterprise, and they'll help with some of our other campaigns. So,
oh, nice.
It's just all hands on deck,
Yeah, very
But
cool.
one of our other guys, Joe White, he did this book for years, Twilight X, but he did a art book a few years back, where it was like a bunch of his sketches that never saw print, and it's just a beautiful book. But he's been doing it since like the late '80s, So it's like some of the pages are amazingly beautiful, and some of them are like his really early days, Let me see. It's like a badass boat.
Oh, nice.
Sorry.
We actually have a question here for you.
Really what is up with Fred Perry's reclusive nature as a creator? He loves the fans. He loves going to conventions and talking to people. But if he does that more often, he will not have time to put out his book, because he is a one-man show. He's doing everything himself, So he is, I guess you could say, a workaholic. He's always on point, delivering the goods, because he knows he can't let himself down. He's told the story before. I'm sure he won't mind me telling it, but like he was almost killed like 3 times in Desert Storm, and he's just big on that. God allowed him to live and gave him time, and he would feel it'd be disrespectful to not fulfill his destiny. And he wrote a submission in the early '90s that he wanted to do Gold Digger. His one series, he wanted to do 300 issues of it. And we're gonna hopefully publish that letter once he hits issue 300. But he fulfills his dream, which is 300 issues of his own story.
Oh, very cool. That's crazy. You know what? But hey, that's what keeps him going. That's the faith and the moving on. I mean,
very driven.
Yeah, very driven. I mean, from what you described. I mean, so yeah, guys. So check it out. I mean, it's there on Kickstarter. 5 days left to go. If you're into it, check out Gold Digger. Google it. If you want to get more familiar with it, if you are familiar with it and you want to catch up on the first issues, I mean, now the time's to do it in a whole new, complete, colorized collection. And if you can, help spread the word, share it on your Facebook, your Twitter, your Instagram, and, continue Gold Digger moving. It's been successful on Indiegogo. Now it's successful on Kickstarter. And it seems like Antarctic Press has much more up its sleeve to keep an eye out for. And, Brian, before we let you go, I'd love to, if you're interested, I'm going to put you on the spot. I'd love to do a 35 years of Antarctic Press, POPXP special. If you'd be interested in kind of highlighting the 35 years of your company.
Yeah, that'd be great. And, we can get some more of the guys on here too, if you want to talk to Ben Dunn. Maybe we can get Fred Perry on here or David Hudson or something.
Yeah, we can have up to 10 guests now on StreamYard, so we can get a nice panel going.
Yeah, have the whole AP Army.
Yeah, there you go.
I also want to remind everybody that years back, Netflix right now, so check that out too.
What was that? You broke up.
Done.
Oh yeah, yes, on Netflix.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, that just came out, right? People are. I've actually saw some posts about that. Yeah, I've been hearing a lot of good things. People have been binging it straight through, right away, and oh my god, this is actually really good. They really like the adaptation, so that's on my list to check out. And we'll give you our 2 cents.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be great.
There you go.
And give Netflix your $10.
There you go, man. There you go. All right, Brian. Thanks so much for coming on the show. We appreciate it. If you're interested, we'll shoot you a follow-up email about setting up a 35 years of Antarctic Press. And if you're interested, we'll get it developed.
Oh, that'd be great.
All right, my friend. Have yourself a great night. Good luck with the campaign. Keep us in the loop with what you have going on. If you ever want to come back on to promote stuff, let us know.
Oh, heck yeah.
All right. Have a great one.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you. Wow. Awesome.
Yeah.
That was awesome. Such a good guy, man. That was great.
Yeah.
talk to him, this and that. I'm glad he answered some questions. I know, you know, with the whole Richard C. Meyer thing in the indie comic community, it's good to hear from him, you know, what actually happened, which is nice, you know, because there's so much misinformation out there. And I think that definitely helps for some of the viewers out there that aren't 100% certain. But it's cool. You know, I like these smaller publications and stuff, and, you know, seeing, 35 years, December 84, man. I mean, it's such a great year. Yeah, great things happened then. And talking about great things, Frank. I mean, we've got our third and final guest tonight with a book that's being published by, our good friend Peter Simeti and Alterna Comics. And he's been around for a while. And I believe this book has actually been out prior to that. So without further ado, let me please welcome Mr. Keith Gleason to the show. Keith, how you doing?
Hey, guys. What's up?
Not too much, man. How you doing?
Good. Just chilling, waiting to get in on the action in here,
Waiting backstage, man.
I am, yeah.
Sorry, the groupies didn't show up because of the whole COVID thing, but normally they're there to entertain. But man, welcome to the show, dude. Glad to have you on.
Yeah.
We're a huge fan of Alterna and what they're doing, awesome. And we're definitely familiar with your work.
Cool.
Our first guest, as you know, is familiar with your work as well.
Yeah, I know Jay really well, just from being in the convention scene up here in the New England area,
Yeah, definitely. So have you been to like Terrificon and stuff like that?
Oh yeah, Terrificon's always on my every year to hit, every convention to hit every year,
Nice. We're not too far.
Among others. What's that? Oh yeah, are you guys always at that show or?
Yeah, we try to make it, every year we can. I mean, obviously,
well, now that I know you guys, I'll have to. Do you guys usually get a table or?
Yeah, we're usually at Billy's table.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah. I know Billy pretty good.
It's free because we tag along with Billy. Actually,
that's the way to do it.
Well, what stinks is we were going to actually have our own table this year.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was talking to Mitch because we've become good acquaintances with Mitch Halleck, who's the producer of that convention, and I was asking him, where we could do, and even talk to him like, well, where could we set up for could we set up in like Artist Alley for interviews and things like that? And he's like, we talked about a few things. And then obviously this stuff happened, which put that conversation on hold. So I definitely want to get it set up for next year to definitely do that and have a nice hangout spot, maybe like cool. A nice leather couch, right?
Oh, that'd be nice.
So I could sit like this with the guests and make them uncomfortable.
Yeah, end up blacklisted on the comic scene.
Exactly. Now I have to ask you a question, and maybe I'm confusing someone else.
Okay.
Frank's laughing. We used to do a show on Facebook called the Comic Cabana Live Auction Show.
Okay.
And I can't remember if you were one of our customers on there, because I'm like, because I've seen your Facebook page and stuff. I'm like, did he used to get comics from us on the live auction show? And I couldn't. You look familiar, but I couldn't tell. And I was like, I gotta ask. Maybe he remembers. It was a few years back, like when the auctions started. Guys started doing the comic book auctions. But
I hate to disappoint. It wasn't me.
It wasn't you. No.
I don't know. I don't think I've ever bought from one of the auctions.
All right. Well, this is really embarrassing. This is extremely embarrassing.
I have that that face, I look like a bunch of different people. So
yeah, I guess so. Just disappointing then.
Yeah,
really
sorry.
Because I still have your package I owe you right here. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, right.
But anyways, Keith, man, let's get to know you a little bit. Like, when did you start getting into comics? When did you start getting into creating comics? Give us your whole. Hey, we got a super sticker here, 99 cents. Thank you, Amy's Birdhouse. We appreciate that. But yeah, we got Lee Ditzworth here. Let's just grab a couple of these. Mighty Mascots is a fun series. Awesome, Lee. I think so. Thanks, as well. Benny says, good day, guys and gals.
Nice.
Yeah, we'll definitely hit up the digital for 15. Definitely a steal. Nice. Anyways, Keith, so give us a bit of your origin story.
Yeah. So I found comics more in junior high, but before that, when I was a little kid, going back to second grade, I wanted to actually be a cartoonist, like Charles Schultz or Jim Davis, like comic strips, basically, because I can draw. I can draw, but I'm very a cartoony style. So that's what I wanted to be growing up. And I took that all the way up until like, I think high school. And then I realized how horrible the comic strip scene is to try to get into, you know? Like, I mean, like, I don't know if you guys know about the whole syndicates and how to get like, you know, syndicated. Oh, it's just a nightmare. And plus like
Gilbert.
Yeah, exactly. And and papers dying left and right. So it was just like a dead dream. But in junior high, I discovered comic books, and I, wanted to do that instead, and I went to 1 year at the Joe Kubert School.
Oh, nice.
I went there for 1 year. And the first thing I realized was that, I took a look internally, and I can never draw superheroes where they look as good as like something like Jim Lee or, like name any artist, because like my cartoony style, I just can't get it right with the perspectives and everything. So I kind of fell more into like a writing role, like like creative, and I kept like I letter my own book. So that's how I kind of still keep like a little bit of an artistic touch with my stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been writing, making comics since probably about 2005. And, I have a couple different series I did, Hero Envy, Kid Switch, couple Swamp Tales, and Mighty Mascots was the first one that I was able to get published by like a small publisher outside of myself.
Swamp Tales?
What's that?
Swamp Tales. Do you know Chris Gugliotti?
I do. Yeah, I know Chris really well.
For Swamp Tales?
Yeah, he does all my covers for Swamp Tales.
Okay. Yeah. All right, because I saw the covers over at Richie's Comic Cabana in
Oh, really? Okay.
That's where the Comic Cabana live auction show. We were partnered with.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So if you page through that, if you open up the book, you'll see all my cartoony drawings. That was like that comic was like a collection of my comic strips, basically. That I had a ton of them, so I was like, why not put these out, in some form, So that's why I did a comic book,
Very cool.
No, thanks. Yeah, and then Mighty Mascots was the first thing I started pitching around to publishers, and Alterna just happened to hit at the right time with the newsprint stuff, and I was like, I gotta pitch to these guys because I love that whole idea, Yeah, it's getting back to like cheap comics. Newsprint, the nostalgic effect of newsprint, and it just was a perfect fit,
Yeah. Amy's Birdhouse, his lettering skills are so important. Lots of indie startup folks underestimate the impact that good lettering has on a book, and that's true.
No,
that's very true. Yeah, actually, whenever anyone asks me advice as a writer, I always tell them, if you're a writer, learn how to letter, because you can always like make changes towards like changes in your script on the artwork and everything, almost like George Lucas did at the end, so you're not married to your script.
Exactly.
Now before we get into the book, for people that don't know you, you also do Comic-Cons yourself.
I do. Yeah I'm a promoter as well. I often forget that. About 2015, like I started my own show called Plastic City Comic Con. Have you guys heard of it?
Yeah.
In Connecticut.
Yep.
So because I was doing a lot of shows, going to like big shows like Boston Comic Con, and just and everything was like cosplay and celebrity guests and like everything but comics, basically. And I was like, I want to get back to like doing like the one-day Comic-Cons where it's cheap for people to come in, and it's just comics, you know what I mean? Like, and so I started looking into running a show, and it wasn't outside of doing all the work for organizing it and everything. It wasn't too hard to actually put one on. So I started, my first show was like a 40 table in a VFW in Leominster. And what I ended up doing was I just did free admission. I paid for the rental of the place through table fees. And I only charged the artist maybe like $30 for a table or something like that. And it was like gangbusters. I mean, I had no way to check the attendance, but it had to be at least 1,000 or more people going through that show that day. Oh, wow. All the artists killed basically. So I knew I had to get it into a bigger venue. So I actually moved it to a hockey rink, which is in the Fitchburg area. And now we've blown up to about 170 tables, I think. And it's just a pure comic show. I only charge $5 to get in, and kids are free, parking's free. So my philosophy is people can walk in with $20 and walk out with a bunch of stuff, because if you think about Boston, and even hate to hit Mitch on the head here, but those big shows, they cost $20, $25, $30 to get in per person. So a family of 4 gets whacked with a $200 bill right before they even walk in the door. And then, they buy food and maybe get one celebrity autograph. What's left over for the artists and, writers and everything. So that was my philosophy, is trying to get back to the 90s style of show where it was like a hotel room and the guy at the table with a cigar box with all the change in it, that kind of thing, So, in 2015, no one was doing shows like that. It was all big mega events, and so it's kind of cool that I feel like I brought back a little bit of that one day kind of essence, Yeah. And the good thing is, all the vendors that come to my show, a lot of them come back, So that's always a good sign that it's not me just, that they're making money, or else they wouldn't be back, So. Yeah. So it's always, that's a great, great sign that the show's doing well, So, you guys should come.
I've always heard great things about Plastic City Comic Con. We were actually hoping to hit it this year, to be honest.
Yeah, you guys should come. Let me know. I'll set you up. I'll get you a table and.
Yeah, definitely. We
would want to do an interview and all that stuff. Definitely, I'd be down with that big time.
Yeah,
there's a couple guys that come that do shows like. Pint of Comics, I think, comes, and So Wizard podcast. I don't know if you know those guys at all, but they all come and set up. And then the other thing we try to do is we always try to get 1 or 2 huge comic guests to come to the show, and then that's it. We don't deal with celebrities or cosplay guests or anything like that. So
just keep it to the comics. Keep it
just comics.
Like an old school comic convention, because if you ever get your hands on one of those flyers, and who posted it, was it John Cimino, Roy Thomas's manager?
Oh yeah, John. I'm good friends with John too.
Yeah, he posted San Diego Comic-Con convention.
Oh, I saw that from 1974. Yeah.
Yes, and
I would love to have a time machine to just go back to that show.
Imagine that. But I mean, if you looked at that flyer, granted you had Gene Roddenberry and stuff like that on there, but everyone on there was just like a holy grail of comic creators, sci-fi creators. Imagine being able to just all right, here's your ticket for one trip. I'd be like, Keith, we're going.
Yeah, right. And seeing Charles Schultz at one of those shows, oh my god!
Oh my gosh!
That and I thought it was funny that Alex Toth was in the little area. I was like, what? This is a marquee guy. What the heck?
I'm gonna find that image and I'm gonna repost that. I'm gonna.
Yeah, I was gonna tweet it on Twitter. Hey, I forgot.
I'm gonna post it on Twitter and Facebook just so people can see just that. Now, and that's what's cool about Plastic City Comic Con is that it is like that. It's just really good creators, and there's so many great indie creators out there. Their names might not be huge, but I'm telling you, these people's work, like Chris Gugliotti, right? He's done stuff for DC, he's done things, but he has such an amazing style I mean, I have his artwork right over here. I mean,
I love Chris's stuff.
He's so good, and there's so many creators out there that's like, why aren't these names bigger?
Yeah,
why
I know.
Bigger, you know, and that's why you do what you do. That's why we do what we do, to just come on, people.
Yeah, right.
Look
I mean,
out
the
there.
indie scene is amazing. You know, there's so much untapped talent.
Yeah, and you know what? You start off indie, and it cracks me up. And this is my personal opinion, no one else's opinion. But you know, indie. If you're successful indie, you will become a successful mainstream because you start off indie, but then you become mainstream. If you become successful and you get out there and you're selling millions of books and this and that, you are mainstream now. And all these great creators that are out there, they deserve a piece of that. And yourself included with all your great books. Like you just put that in. I mean, that's why I think with what's going on in the world right now, what's going on in the industry, you've got this group fighting this group and this and that.
Oh yeah, so a bunch of nonsense.
Focus on the comics, people. Focus on the stories.
Yeah, I know.
Keep your personal beliefs seriously. You can do whatever you want. That's why we have free will. But at the same time, let's just make good stuff. Let's escape from all this nonsense.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
Right?
1000%. I like you work in all these people are working in I think the greatest industry in the world, and like they're worried about nonsense. Like I don't know. I just, you know, like I just want to create comics.
and you know what? It's a business too. Like you got to realize that. Like, you know, there's some romantic, you know, notions about it of this and that, but at the end of the day, if I can get my IP out there and it can make a lot of money, then I'm going to do whatever I can to continue growing my IP to make a lot of money.
Yeah,
I mean, because that's, you know, building up your brand. You're building up your stuff. The more you do, the more successful you get. The more money you make, the more you can put into your product, the more time you can put into your product, because it is a business.
Yep.
You know, so it's not just a passion, it's a business too. You know, and a lot of people have to understand that as part of creating as well. And I think you've done a hell of a job yourself, sir. I mean, with what you put out there, and let's take a look at this campaign right now. Boom. You had a goal of 5,000. You've more than doubled that. And you've got 2 days left, 252 backers. Will you be going in demand with this?
Yes. Yeah, so people, if they can't get in the next 2 days, they should still have a shot at it. I'll probably leave it open for a while until at least like the 4th issue is ready to go. You know, and then I'll probably close it off at that point. But yeah, I'm blown away by the support on this. It's, you know, like I thought I was going to barely hit the goal. And then to see this is like incredible, you know?
Yeah,
and
it's great, man.
Speaking of Gugliotti, did you see his exclusive cover for the campaign?
Yeah, well,
it's down at the bottom.
First off, this is great.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I have one right here. If you want to take a look at it. Yeah.
Oh, so much to talk about.
I know,
right? So there's the full. This is a cereal box I had made up, and it's got all kinds of like Easter eggs on it. You know,
that's so
cutout mask.
Do you get cereal boxes made? Is there a cereal box maker website?
There's a promotional site. I forget the name of it, but
a true breakfast of champions.
Yeah, I'll have to get it for you guys. But yeah, there's a site. I forget if I had to. When I bought them, I had to get 500 of them, so it was a lot of money out of my own pocket. I think I spent my tax returns when I got it. But I knew it was going to be a great thing to complement the series, so I was like, I had to pull the trigger on it. Yeah, his is coming up right there. Isn't that great? That is the Hangover kind of
style right there.
I love it. Yeah, Chris is awesome. I was just texting with him today, actually.
Oh, nice. Tell us about this, though. Actually, you know what? Let's do this first, because I gotta do my videos.
Actually,
you know what? The best video you could show is the second one. The second one is up at the top. If you hit this, I filmed a breakfast commercial with my niece.
This is awesome.
Yeah, this is really good. This is fun.
We'll do this one. We'll do this one. Okay.
I'm bored.
Hey, kid!
Yeah?
Are you looking for something exciting to read while you enjoy some sugary cereal?
Yeah!
Then grab a copy of Mighty Mascots from Alterna Comics! Born from the ashes of a disastrous 3D printing accident, 8 living advertisements have banded together to right the wrongs of this world, led by a former child star. These unlikely heroes are freaks to some, but you will know them as the Mighty Mascots. The miniseries is 3 issues full color and printed on glorious newsprint. This is the fun superhero series that you didn't know you needed. Created and written by Keith Gleason, featuring artwork by Ian Morianto and colors by Unkun Bondi.
Ahoy, I can't wait for more!
Mighty Mascots is part of your complete breakfast and comic book reading experience. Only from Alterna Comics.
I love that. You're like Ren and Stimpy when they would do like the commercials.
Yeah, right. That's exactly what I was going for with that.
That's awesome. Oh, that's weird. We're right there.
Hey.
Oh wow, look at that. It's so meta right now.
Insane. That's great. That's a great commercial. I love that.
Oh, thanks a lot. Yeah, I originally filmed that just to be a promo for the series, but I was like, this is perfect for the Indiegogo. So I threw that in. Yeah, log.
Log. Hey, it gets heavy, it's wood. We got to get Bob Camp on, Frank.
Yeah, right.
I gotta message him and see if we can get him on. That'd be a fun show.
That would be awesome. But yeah, it's just one of those concepts. Like it's just supposed to be fun, like a fun return to superhero books.
Yeah.
Well, and right here, I mean, NIle started circling it. Like, here's the featured, for $50, you get
a lot of stuff.
A lot of stuff. Yeah. I mean, that's crazy.
That's a great, for $50, you're getting a hell of a package.
Yeah, you get the $50 tier is the best one just because you get the cereal box. You get the new storyline which is the reason I'm going to Indiegogo. And you also get the Chris Giarrusso exclusive cover, which is only in that perk. I think you can buy it as an add-on, but it's only available in that perk. And you get all the exclusive covers. And if you haven't read the series before, you get the first 3 issues as well. So it's like a complete, almost like everything you get everything complete there, basically,
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you a question: do the items come when you get this package? Like, if I pledge this tonight and I go for the food, am I gonna receive a cereal box that when I open it, all the treasures are in it?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna plan on doing. I think. I think that'd just be fun, rather than shipping it flat. I think if I could
in there.
Right, if I could ship it like a box within a box, it'd probably be good,
Yeah. They just pour some loose cereal in there, so people will be like, "Should I eat?"
Yeah,
it?
right.
Like,
use that as the packing. That could be the packing material.
It's like freaking Apple Jacks, or like
Can you imagine if a box broke open at the post office? Oh my god.
That'd be awesome. But now tell us about Mighty Mascots for anyone out there that is not familiar with this story, but they're loving what they're seeing and are like, hey, I got the creator on here, so just tell me about it.
So when I pitch it at shows, I tell everybody it's about a bunch of cereal mascots. They were brought to life by a 3D printing accident, and they become sort of like the Justice League of cereal, basically. It's basically a good old-fashioned superhero book. The tone I'm going for is sort of like if you took a Saturday morning cartoon and then mashed it with like a Silver Age comic, like just old school, like lots of action, all ages, which is basically what comics used to be in the 80s. Just fun. Like I want you to, once someone reads it, I want them to feel like they just grabbed a bowl of cereal and turned on the Saturday morning cartoons. That's what I want people to get from the book, basically. The way I write it kind of like, I've said this in other interviews, but like in a similar vein to something like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, where, you know, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is such an absurd concept, but Eastman and Laird used to take it seriously, which is sort of what I'm doing. It's like, you know, after you get over the fact that you're reading a bunch of serial mascots and you're trying to figure out which one is like, what, you know, what's this cereal mascot like, or, you know, like, is this like Captain Crunch or whatever, you know? But I still want you to get like a good superhero book after that, you know, after the funniness. And like, if you scroll down a little more, you could see like the cast of characters. That's the great Chris Giarrusso cover. You guys must know Giarrusso, right?
Yeah.
And this is the fourth issue tentative cover. That's the villains they'll be facing in the new storyline. They're fighting video game villains called the Boss Brigade, and they're all like evil.
So you got like a Sonic type guy. Is that?
Yeah.
It's like a Goku.
Sort of like
like
like a Street Fighter Goku type. Then we got Donkey Kong and Mario, and up above is sort of like the Mega Man, you know. And then the girl is supposed to be kind of like Tomb Raider.
Who are the brothers? Was it the brothers in Street Fighter? Was it?
Ken? Ryu and Ken, yeah.
Ryu, there you go.
And so there's the cast of characters, and then I did it like, remember the old Avengers books? They always do the Avengers roll call. I do the mascots bowl call, and it's like, you know, and that's all the characters. They're all kind of archetypes of famous, you know, serial mascots, basically.
Yeah. Now, you kind of talked about yourself and your artistic style, and it seems like you have a theme of, you know, I mean, we know some of the other guys that you're talking about, you know, Gugliotti kind of has his style, and Chris Giarrusso also has like a very cartoony style as you do. Is that kind of what you pick for people to work on this project, or is it just so happens to be that way?
Well, I think for both of those guys, I love them for like their, like I love their styles, but I think it's more for the covers or special covers.
Yeah.
When I was picking out the artist for this, I wanted it to look sort of like an action cartoon, but like somewhere between like, I wouldn't say a little bit like anime, I guess, but also like, you know, like stuff like Filmation or something, you know. Yeah. Wanted it to look like a Filmation cartoon on the page. And I think I found the perfect artist. I mean, I look at that cover and I love his designs for the characters.
Yeah, his interior, you know what's nice about his interiors? It's like cartoony and it's comic book. There's a medium with his style. But man, like this screams to me like cartoon.
Yeah.
This screams adaptation to television or something. Like, how is this not picked up yet?
I would love that. Contact me if anybody if anybody knows any animators that animation companies.
No, this concept no one has done.
Right.
Done this.
I think it would kill. I mean,
I think this would kill. I mean, look at the shit that's on like Cartoon Network and stuff that the kids watch.
Yeah.
I mean, it's they say the kids watch that I freaking watch. It's research, honey. It's research. I need to stay awake.
I think it's the thing that would make it work too. I mean, look at this cast of characters.
Yeah.
You got a Martian, a bear with boxing gloves, 3 robots, a pirate. It's just like a crazy mix of characters, and I think that's why it would work. I mean, and I think like I mean, I know kids don't really do like the Saturday morning rituals that we probably did.
Yeah.
But I think they would still relate to it because like everyone loves cereal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You always see it. Like, you know, the mascots are always like you always see the monster cereals every October. Everybody gets excited for them, and you know what I mean. It's just
Blueberry.
yeah, right.
Blueberry.
I'm a big
What
blueberry
was the
guy.
Frankenstein character one?
That was Frankenberry.
Frankenberries.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, this is like this would be great as some type of television. I mean, and then like their villains, right? Their main villains are video game characters. Now, were they ripped out of the 3D printer as well?
Yeah, there's like a crazy backstory that's sort of being revealed in all the issues. There's like an evil like corporate science lab type thing where there's like a crazy scientist creating all this stuff and adding all this evilness to the mix to make all these characters kind of evil when they come out of the batch. The mascots were the exception, of course, but like it's just like a crazy cartoon like backstory. But I'm also like planning on like the first 3 issues. It was like I did like a nod to remember those old Crest commercials from the 70s that Jack Kirby remember those commercials. So I did a whole thing with that. Like in the first 3 issues, it's like the Tartar Creeps and the Crest team, but I made them all villains, and it's a lot of fun. Just like kind of giving a little nod to Jack, and then also like just because those, if you ever watch those commercials, they all look like superheroes. The Crest team, But I call them like the Crown team in my book, But
I can't remember the name of. They were like rock characters.
Yeah, the Cavity Creeps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We make holes in teeth. Remember?
So we just. On another note, and I'm just bringing this up because this has been happening to us more frequently. I don't know if there's trolls out there or whatnot, but Dan Frag is a friend of ours, a friend of the show.
Oh, okay, yeah. I was on Dan's show a few weeks ago.
Yeah, his stream just got ripped tonight. So either the algorithms are out tonight pulling live shows, or his channel got nuked, not his stream. What?
Oh, really? Wonder what happened.
Channel? Spectrum Ball says it's his channel got nuked, not his stream. Wow. That's not good. I hope it's not a troll out there that's going to start hitting.
I wonder what happened.
Yeah.
Why pick on Dan? He's such a nice guy.
He's such a cool dude. I mean, he's fun.
Seriously. I love Dan.
He's how can I describe it? You can follow certain trends, groups, whatever you want to do. I'll have to tell you what, Dan is just a nice guy. He's a nice creator, and he likes to joke around and have fun. He never, he doesn't really hurt anyone, and that's nuts.
Yeah, I can't believe someone did that. It's horrible. That's a problem with comics right now. It's just like, can we just make comics like Yeah.
You can't even, unfortunately too, like, I'll say, you've got your Comicsgate group and you got SJW stuff going on, back and forth. That's
right.
Say it, right? And, we don't classify ourselves as anything. We're not Comicsgate. We're not this. We're not that. We're POPXP. We're our own brand. We're our own group. We're here to support independent creators. And it's not about anyone's affiliation. It's literally about supporting independent creators.
Comics.
Have a good product. And if you don't like someone we have on that night, you don't have to watch us, right?
Yeah.
People, if I have
to nuke the
I see subs go down or I see subs go up, but I mean, it's like anything else. You got to let it go. But, there's no reason for the fighting. There really isn't, but I understand where you got to defend yourselves, right? So I understand that. But just some of the stuff, like if I go on someone's show or this and that, he's this, he's that, or if Billy goes on something, he's this, he's that. What are you talking about? They're our friends, we've known some of these people for him, he's known some of these people for 25, 30 years.
Right. Yeah, he's not just going to start changing how
being someone's friend, It's craziness. I don't want to get on a rant, but I mean, it's just.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I treat everybody respectfully and if, I haven't had any problems with anybody, and I don't care about the, Comicsgate or anti-Comicsgate. I don't care about any of that stuff. Like, I just want to make a good book that everybody loves,
Yeah. I don't know, Spectrum Ball. I don't. I don't know who's flagging what. I'm not saying anyone in Comics is flagging anything. I'm not saying anyone. I'm just saying there's trolls out there, man. I don't know who's doing it. And also, and I will say this too, you know, being we're YouTubers, and we obviously run these things. We get the memos, we get the emails, we get the things from YouTube. You know, ever since COVID did happen, the due to not having staff together in their buildings and things like that, a lot of reviews are done via algorithms. So they've upped the algorithms, because there's a lot of times, and Frank can attest to this, we'll finish the stream and it's pulled. And it's like, why is it pulled?
Oh, weird.
The appeal process, say there's nothing in here that goes against whatever. And, you appeal it, and then, half hour later, our video's back up. But
weird.
It just stinks though, because, you have it, but then there's times like it keeps going and going, like, all right, someone's doing something. Or certain guests on, it just so happens, versus when we have others people on and we're talking the same stuff.
Right.
We really don't know. I hope he does get his channel back. I hope, this stuff can cease, and, hey, everyone's got to do what they got to do.
Yeah. It should go back to, when you were just buying comics off of Iraq. You don't like a person, you don't like a comic, don't buy it. Someone else.
Right.
Buy what you like, and it goes the same for Kickstarter, Indiegogo. Buy what you like on, and support those creators that are doing something that you enjoy. If it's their first and only project, then it's their first and only project. But anything else, that's their personal life.
Yeah. And if whatever the mainstream does, you can't control it. But in the indie world, we can control it, because we are the publishers. We are the comic book company,
Right. And you are the face of your own property. Exactly. And like, however you want to, be towards people, that's your thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I just, I love being at shows and pitching my book to people, and you know.
And again, man, I'm telling you, I love this. I've dabbled in this. I've gone to Peter's booths, and I've gone through these books, a lot of his books. I've read a couple of the Mighty Mascots and other stuff. Especially when I first got to know Peter, I wanted to be more familiar with what's being published and the stuff that the creators that he's publishing are doing. And yours is always one of my favorites. I was really excited to have you on the show. Dude, man, I'm telling you. Push this thing on, like, I don't know where you can push it. Go to Cartoon Network or something. I mean, it's
I know. I would love to.
Unique concept. Like, I feel like if you're not going to do it, I'm going to do it. Someone's got to push it. It's so unique and so cool,
I'm just hoping
Adventure Time, like these other shows, like they're just wacky concepts.
Yeah. I just need like a good showrunner to see it, or have the comic go by their desk or something, just to like get the ball rolling on something like this. I see this as like maybe a Netflix animated show or something. But I have no idea how to even go about that though, which sucks. Once I'd be all over it. But I think that's what it would be. I don't think it would be a movie. I see it as an animated show,
I do know a couple people we could reach out to. Well,
really?
I can just refer you to them. I'm not trying to take anything of yours. I'm just saying.
Oh, well, hey, if you find it in your heart to like drop them a line and a link, I would love that.
I will.
If they want copies of the book, I'll happily send it to them,
Yeah, no, definitely. We do know a couple people.
Do you really?
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
Awesome.
I mean, I know the whole process to it. We can. It's not. We can just start. I don't want to bore people, but there's definitely. You do have to get attorneys involved and other things, but if you can get in front of the right people, it's much more smooth of a process. And we do know a couple people that can get that door open, which is cool.
Oh, really? Yeah, I'd love that, man.
I will. I'll drop a line. I'll send a link. Get their thoughts, and we'll see what happens. Who knows? Maybe we can open another doorway for you.
Yeah, I would love that. I think it's two great things that go together: superheroes and Saturday morning cartoons and cereal. It's like,
yeah, definitely, man.
It's like I think it's a winning combination.
Oh, 100%.
I see this as like pure 90s Nickelodeon channel.
Nice.
You know,
Yeah.
like
Okay.
in between, you know, like Rocco's Modern Life and like Ren and Stimpy.
Okay.
And then like a cereal, like,
Or
you
it could
know,
be in
on-
the same block as like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles
Yeah.
hour, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
Right, you know, like the something
So
like that.
for the viewers out there that are interested in this and like, well, you know, what is your age group for this book?
All ages, actually. I write it exactly like the comics I grew up with. Like when I first got into comics, I was into Spider-Man, Hulk. And this is going back into probably, I want to say 85, 86 is when I picked up my first comic. And I remember the Spider-Man comic I bought was he was in the black costume and he was fighting Sin Eater. Remember that character, Sin Eater? Yeah. And I was reading it and I was like, man, this guy's blowing away people. And like, you don't see that on Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. And like, but it was, you know, even though Sin Eater was killing like people, it wasn't done gratuitously.
Yeah.
You know, it was like somebody shot and there wasn't any blood. It was just someone would fall to the ground and, you know, they were clearly dead, but like, you know, what, or like, it was more like when Star Wars, when someone gets hit with a laser, it's like, it's not bloody, but they're dead, you know?
Yeah.
But that's the kind of story, like the way I'm writing it, where you could give it to a kid and it doesn't dumb it down for them, but it's perfectly safe for them at the same time. It's not like those YA books that kids read now. It's more like the stuff we grew up with.
Yeah.
We turned out fine, you know, at least I think so.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. That's the sensibility of it. It's like I want it to appeal to anybody that loves superhero comics, and that includes kids, you know. So
nice.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. That's cool. Well, this is awesome. I mean, this is great. I definitely encourage you out there to check this out. Look into this seriously. This is a really fun book. That $50 pledge right here is definitely worth every dollar of that 50.
Plus you get all if you scroll to the bottom, you see all the stuff that we unlocked. You'll get all that stuff with any perk, actually, pretty much. So at the bottom, I put in all the unlockables.
Scroll finger faster.
There we go. So you get not the enamel, but go down a little more. So there we go. Stretch goals. So there's an 8. There's a pin set I unlocked. I was doing 2 every like 50 backers.
Yeah.
So the entire set's unlocked now. So everybody gets 8 buttons. That was just a cover reveal for the Christia Russo. Everyone gets a bookmark. There's the second pin set
of pins.
You get a sticker set that was unlocked. Another set of pins. And then this one's going to be cool. A 9-piece trading card set. On the back of the cards is going to be nutritional facts, but it's actually going to be the character's stats.
Nice.
You know, like the old Marvel or DC Who's Who, you know, those kind of books.
That's great.
And then it's the final 2 pins. And then we're heading towards this final one, which will be a 11 by 17 fold-out poster by Christian Rossi, who's an artist for Alterna. He does Trespasser and the comic book Voidwalker.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I haven't added any more, but I'm getting close to hitting that stretch goal. So I'll have to start thinking of more stuff. Yeah, it's crazy. I never thought I would even hit the 7K one, and now I'm scrambling for stuff I need. You know, so it's nuts. Well, I think I got a little bit of a boost from Ethan Van Sciver, actually.
Yeah.
I guess Peter gave him copies of the Mighty Mascots, and he said he's been talking about it on his live stream, and he said it's his favorite Alterna book. So I'm like, cool. I mean, first of all, I'm humbled by that, which I think is great.
Yeah, the man who broke $1 million.
Yeah, I know. It's like nuts, right? And
That's
like
you're gonna see a lot of pros heading in. That's what my prediction.
I think so too. Well, I mean, look at the comic industry's fallen apart. I mean, and Indiegogo and Kickstarter are still producing stuff like crazy. So I mean, I think it's where it's at, you know? I mean, I know you guys were talking about that a little bit earlier because I've been listening to the show, but I think this is the future of the industry.
Well, this is I'll tell you, this is my prediction is that, you know, you've got these DC creators, writers, guys at Marvel, guys producing stuff through Image. And what's happening now is they're like, wait, so I can make more money doing one campaign for one book than I can when I'm working on a whole series. True story. I can't say names, but I know this is a fact. So what's happening is now they're going in, they're saying, they're trying to figure out, well, how can I do a campaign? And now they're reaching out to find out. So they need that security. And I'll be honest, with Ethan hitting over $1 million, that turns a lot of heads, no matter who you are.
Yeah.
That
just
definitely proves that if you build your brand, you build your fan base, and you do whatever it takes or however you want to do it, you can make money. And for these comic creators, I mean, that's why the joke is comics is an industry where you can make hundreds of dollars, right? Because it's not a money-making business. You know, most comic creators make like, we're talking like DC Marvel. Most of the comics creators are this is writers and artists are probably maybe making anywhere between $45,000 to $75,000 a year. You know, unless you're like a Scott Snyder, someone who's obviously, you know, at the top of that pack, making probably somewhere in six figures. He has to be, or like a Greg Capullo, just because they have something that's beyond some of the other guys.
The books. I mean, it's merit based, right? So like if he sells like a ton of books, they're going to give him more money. The thing is like, and I think Alterna pulled away from Diamond, like because he's Peter's making more money direct now, so it's like. You know, so it's like, I mean, and part of his strategy going forward, as far as I know, is he's gonna be using crowdsourcing and just selling direct from his website.
Yeah, Alterna distribution.
I think it's brilliant.
He's fully opened up Alterna distribution. I think that's
I haven't done anything with that just because I don't need to. I'm part of the Alterna team, but if for indie creators out there, should definitely look into that. I think. It's sort of like him, you know, getting their book distributed, you know?
Oh, yeah. No, and you know, that's the thing, because think about it, right, Keith? If you're like, hey, you know what? I'm going to start drawing this book. I'm going to write it, and I'm going to draw it, and I'm going to letter it. Well, now you're cutting your overhead down, right? So now more of that goes back into your pocket, and more of that goes into you creating more product, maybe even better product, you know? It all depends on how you're structured. You know, you may be great this way, but yeah, the more you do, the more you can keep in-house, let's say, the better off you are. And that goes for any business. And those are the risks with expanding, right? Because then you have to outsource or you have to hire more people, you know? And that's when that mom and pop feel goes away. And that's, I think, what's sad. A lot of people don't you know, as someone who has ran businesses and done things, you know, people are like, well, you can't do it anymore. Well, because you're not a mom and pop shop anymore, you know?
Right.
So you lose that personal connection a little bit, or as you expand. And again, that's what's great about the whole indie scene is, you know, you're running the ship, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you can.
You're your own.
Yeah. You know?
It's all like I mean, like, you know, you got the artists and stuff too, but it's like me being the writer and kind of the driving force. It's like, we refer to ourselves as like the project coordinators, kind of, you know, we do all the marketing and everything.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Ginger, I have the Mighty Mascots Giant. Excellent. Really impressed with the story flow. Characters are fun. Alterna is spot on with their all age books, truly being all ages. Wow,
thanks, Ginger. I really appreciate that.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Well,
that shows I did my job, I guess.
Exactly. That shows you've done your job, and right there. So
Just
anyway,
trying to entertain,
Keith, we're so happy to have you on the show, man. You are
Yeah, guys.
I feel like I could talk to you for hours.
Same here. I feel like
show.
kindred spirits here,
Yeah, definitely. Man, feel free. I may reach out to you to come on the show, guest host, hang out with us.
Yeah. I'd love that. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Do a show, right? We do have on our list here of different shows of what maybe bringing on a couple con producers, just talking like, man,
Sure.
what the hell? How was it making these decisions? What's it like doing this? What are you anticipating for 2021? Do you, things like that, and how do you go about things? Just to give some people some better understanding, and just hear from the guys who are producing it, who now have to postpone or cancel or whatever they're doing. So
yeah, definitely. I was lucky this year because of with the postponing. Just to sidetrack for a second, I was lucky that well, the great thing, a lot of people didn't ask for refunds. I think I gave out 10 refunds, which was great. Everyone else rolled over to next year, so I'm like,
that's good.
Yes, so that didn't kill me. I am gonna take a bath on like advertising, because a lot of the advertising had the dates on it and stuff.
Yeah.
But overall, I'll still be able to deliver a good show next year. I was trying to get Roy Thomas to come. I was working with John Cimino about that. Yeah. But I might have to wait a year to do that again until the show kind of resets after, you know what I mean? After the COVID show is over, basically. But should be able to get somebody decent to at least come for next year. Hopefully, if everything is safe in the world, and definitely, I want you guys to come, so let's talk about that. I'll give you guys a table and definitely come to the show. I'd love to have you there.
Oh, yeah, we'd love to go, man.
Even if you just come to hang out, you don't even have to work if you don't if you don't want to. Just come and advertise your brand and just hang out.
Yeah, that'd be great. We're looking forward to that. We'll definitely do that. And yeah, I think with once things open up, so many creators are so hungry. There's everyone's trying to do the best they can to make up the missing funds.
Honestly, this Indiegogo blew me away at the support of it. So right there, so I'm actually doing okay this year just because of that. Mm-hmm. And I haven't been to any convention. So, and every convention's either, you never know if you're going to walk away with money or if you're going to take a bath at a show. There's some that you can kind of predict, but so I'm glad I don't have that really going on this year either.
Yeah.
And because the Indiegogo made so much money, I'm kind of glad I don't have any shows this year, because I'm gonna have to kind of claim that on my taxes next year. So.
Oh, I hear you, man.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on, dude. This is great. This is awesome. Before we go, though, I do want to let everyone know tomorrow night we're going to be on. We've got Josh Jeppy on talking about an auction that they have coming up, which should be a pretty interesting topic. And then we're also going to do a couple more indie plugs tomorrow night. We're going to have Karen Nicole on, and Art T-Bear is going to come on to talk about their campaigns that they have going on as well. And then another thing I just want to point out that we've got going on this week is we're going to be hosting the launch party for Fairy Quest, written by Paul Jenkins.
Cool.
Alberto's an artist on there. A bunch of great creators worked on this project. So we're actually going to be hosting the launch party. So it's going to probably be a fun, drunk night of stories, previews, a bunch of different things that Paul's got lined up his sleeves that him and I are working on putting together for Thursday night at 9 p.m. So we hope you guys join us. It should be a good time. And if you haven't checked out Fairy Quest, Google it.
Yes.
It is freaking awesome.
I'll have to check that out. I was always wondering what Paul Jenkins was doing. I haven't seen him in forever,
Oh, Paul Jenkins is a busy man.
That's good.
He's a good friend of Billy's. He's become a friend of mine and a friend of the show. We've had him on a few times. But yeah, we're going to be, popping up
good.
Thursday. I'm curious to see what guests he's going to have on. Yeah, I don't know if you guys knew, we actually had him and Kevin Eastman were on the other week.
Yeah,
I saw that. I haven't watched the show yet, but I'm going to definitely check that out.
Yes. I'm going to have Kevin back on. I'm thinking about. I'm a huge Turtles fan, dude. Like that was my life growing up. Was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Kevin's such a nice guy too.
Such a nice guy, and he's like, "Oh, I'll come out." He's like, "Yeah, I'll come back on. Whenever. Not as much as Paul, but yeah, I'll come back on and stuff." And like in my mind, I'm like, "You don't know what you've just done. What you've done." you just let the vampire into your home.
Yeah, right.
But that should be fun. I got to get something set up. I had some
awesome
for that.
Awesome.
Show, so.
Yeah. So whenever you guys get the convention one, let me know. I'll definitely jump in, or if you ever need a co-host, I'm available. So.
You got it, Keith. All right, man.
Yeah.
Thanks so much. And thanks again to our guest tonight, Jason Mooers and Brian Denham tonight. It was great. And we hope everyone has a lovely and safe night. And we will see you all tomorrow night at 9 p.m. with Josh Jeppy, Karen Nicole, and Art T. Bear. Have a great night, everyone.